Tonight's story is another in the series about Lumi and the Land of Dreams by Kids Bedtime Stories. Before sleep comes, sometimes something very simple happens. Not in your head, not in your thoughts, in your body. Your body says, "It's easier for me to fall asleep when someone is close." Maybe you know that feeling. Maybe you like it when someone sits by your bed for just a little longer, when you can hear a quiet breath, when you know you're not alone. And in exactly a moment like that, when night has already arrived, but sleep is still hesitating, Lumi returns. He doesn't interrupt. He doesn't hurry you. He doesn't make any noise. He simply is. He sits close as he always does and looks calmly. Lumi always keeps his word, so tonight he came too. And tonight he will tell you a story about a child who could only fall asleep when someone was near. The dream sparks are already gathering. One carries warmth, another carries rhythm, the third carries a memory that can feel like someone's hand even when no one is in the room. Lumi stays nearby. You don't have to fall asleep yet. You can simply listen. In the human world, in a house that had already known many peaceful evenings, there was a little girl named Ava. Ava was the kind of girl who laughed easily. During the day, she ran fast. She asked questions that sometimes surprised grown-ups. She could put on her shoes by herself, pour herself a glass of water, invent a game on her own. She liked it when things were in order. She liked knowing what would happen next. And when evening came, Ava did everything you do before sleep. She brushed her teeth. She put on her pajamas. She arranged her favorite pillow. She smoothed her blanket. She chose one stuffed toy and placed it exactly where it should be. Everything was ready. Everywhere was safe. And yet, when that moment came, when someone was about to leave the room, Ava felt a gentle tightness in her belly. Not like fear, more like an empty place that suddenly becomes too noticeable. Mom usually sat on the chair next to the bed, or on the edge. She didn't always talk. Sometimes she was simply there. Ava listened to her breathing, and then her body knew what to do. Her shoulders dropped, her legs grew heavier, her eyelids softened and stuck together in a cozy way. Sleep came like a cat that knows the way. But when Mom said, "I have to go now," when she stood up, when she walked to the door and the world in the room became only Ava and her thoughts, sleep seemed to step back by one pace. Ava tried to lie still then. She tried to breathe the way you breathe before sleep. She tried to tell herself in her head that everything was fine, and everything truly was fine. Only her body didn't want to relax without someone's closeness, as if it needed one more confirmation. Someone is here. That evening, Mom read a short book. She stroked Ava's hair. She fixed the blanket. She smiled. She said, "Good night, sweetheart," and she left. The door closed quietly. Ava could still hear footsteps in the hallway for a moment. Then the sound of water in the bathroom, the rustle of something in the kitchen. That was good. The house was telling her it was breathing. But the sounds began to get farther and farther away, rarer and rarer, and Ava lay there, feeling that her body and mind couldn't fully unwind. Her heart beat a little faster. Her hands held onto the blanket. Her belly felt like a ribbon pulled tight. Ava wasn't afraid of the dark. The nightlight could be off, and that wasn't a problem. Ava wasn't afraid of dreams. She wasn't thinking about nightmares. Ava simply needed someone to be close before sleep would come. She turned onto her side, then onto the other, then onto her back again. She hugged her stuffed toy. She sighed softly. There weren't big questions in her head. There was only one feeling. If someone sat here, I would fall asleep right away. Ava knew that feeling. She also knew that her parents were in the house, right nearby, behind the wall, safe. But it wasn't the same as someone being in the room. Ava wanted to call out, but she didn't want to cause trouble. After all, Mom was tired too. Ava tried to be brave, but her body didn't want to fall asleep with bravery. It wanted to fall asleep with closeness. On the other side of sleep, in the land of dreams, Lumi stopped on a soft path. The light on his chest shone warmly and calmly, but it had a clear direction inside it. The dream sparks floated low, as if they themselves knew that tonight wasn't about images or sounds. It was about something in between. "It's Ava," whispered one spark. "She falls asleep when someone is close," added another. "When she's alone, her body can't relax," said a third. Lumi twitched his ears slightly. He knew this was common and important. There are children who fall asleep in a second because their bodies know stillness. There are children who need a rhythm or a story. And there are children who fall asleep when they can feel someone's presence. That isn't a flaw, it's a way. Lumi sat on the soft ground and listened. He didn't listen for silence. He listened for signals from Ava's body. He listened to her breathing, which was short and careful. He listened to her heart, beating like a small "Are you sure?" He listened to the tension holding her belly, and then he understood what this night needed. not a lesson in independence, not tests, not you can do it exercises. This night needed one thing: that someone would be close for as long as it took, and then that Ava could feel that closeness can stay inside too. Lumi stood up. The dream sparks flowed after him. One carried warmth, another carried the rhythm of breathing. The third carried the memory of a hand. Lumi crossed the boundary of sleep so quietly that the night in Ava's room didn't even stir. Ava didn't see him right away. First, she felt that there was something soft in the air, as if someone had covered her thoughts with a gentle blanket, as if someone had sat beside her, not touching, but being. Ava stopped fidgeting. She held her breath for a second and then let it out longer. Ava, Lumi said gently. His voice was such that she didn't need to answer. Ava opened her eyes. She saw a small rabbit with fur like morning mist and a warm patch of light on his chest. She wasn't as surprised as someone would be in the daytime. At night, things that help feel natural. I can't fall asleep when no one is next to me, Ava whispered as if she were speaking to the blanket. I know, Lumi answered, and that is okay. Ava looked at him cautiously as if she feared she would hear. You have to learn. But Lumi didn't speak like that. Lumi was the keeper of dreams. He didn't judge. He didn't correct children the way you correct homework. Can you stay? Ava asked. I will stay, Lumi said, for as long as it takes. The dream sparks hovered low, just above the blanket. One of them poured out warmth like a small, invisible cushion beside her. Another began to pulse in the rhythm of a calm breath. The third did something else. It scattered into the air a delicate feeling that can't really be named with a word, but the body recognizes it right away. It was the feeling of someone sitting beside you and demanding nothing. Ava felt her belly loosen by one small knot, not all at once, just a little. Lumi sat beside the bed in a way that could be felt, like a shadow of light, like a calm presence. Do you want me to tell you how closeness works in dreams? Lumi asked after a moment. Ava nodded. Closeness isn't only someone in the room, Lumi said. It's also what your body remembers. When someone has sat beside you so many times, your body learned, now I can rest. That is a wise lesson. That is a good lesson. But without that, I can't, Ava whispered. You can't do it differently yet, Lumi replied. And tonight, we don't have to rush anything. First, I'll show you something in the land of dreams, a place where presence is kept, so you can know it doesn't vanish when someone leaves. Ava felt her eyelids growing heavier, but she wasn't asleep yet. She was curious. The room didn't disappear. It simply moved away as if making space. Ava felt soft ground beneath her feet. She was in the land of dreams, but not in the wide space of paths and rivers. This time, Lumi led her to a place that looked like a warm clearing in the middle of night. Above the clearing floated hundreds of small lights. They didn't flicker nervously. They pulsed slowly, like breaths. "What is this?" Ava asked. "This is the treasury of closeness," Lumi said. "It isn't locked. It has no doors. It's here for every child who sometimes needs someone nearby." Ava stepped closer. She saw that inside those little lights were tiny fragments, the warmth of a hand on a forehead, a voice saying, "I'm here," the creak of a chair next to the bed, the rustle of a blanket being tucked in, a calm "Good night." Each fragment was like a seed of peace. "These are moments?" Ava asked. "Yes," Lumi replied. "Moments your body has remembered. When someone was close, your brain and heart learned, I can slow down." A grown-up often helps a child calm down just by being there. People like it when someone is near them when they are sad, angry, or sick. They feel supported then. In the land of dreams, we say it more simply. When someone is beside you, sleep finds the way more easily. Ava watched carefully. "And when no one is beside me?" she asked. Lumi went to one of the lights. He gently touched it with his paw. The light didn't go out. It spread warmth as if it wanted to say, "I'm here." Then Lumi said, "You can take with you what stayed inside you, not as an image you have to hold on to, more like a feeling, like warmth in your chest, like the thought, someone loves me, like the memory of a voice. That is inner presence." Ava looked at her hands. "And if I don't feel it?" she asked. "That's okay," Lumi answered. "Then I will stay. And when you fall asleep, that feeling will learn inside you slowly, like a plant grows. You don't pull on its leaves." The dream sparks floated around them and formed a circle. One began to pulse slowly, like a calm heart. Another spread warmth, as if the clearing were covered with an invisible blanket. The third brought something very simple, a breathing rhythm that is easy to follow, even when you aren't trying. We can try a small exercise, but without effort, Lumi said, one that doesn't require you to be brave. It's enough that you simply are. Ava nodded. Imagine, Lumi said, that next to your bed there is an invisible chair. On it sits presence. It doesn't need a face. It doesn't need to say anything. It simply sits. Ava closed her eyes for a moment. Now feel the blanket, Lumi said. Its weight, its warmth, and then listen to your breath. Ava's breath was still a little uneven, but it was already slower. Inhale, exhale. That chair can always stand in your imagination, Lumi whispered, and in your body, the feeling that someone is close can remain. Ava opened her eyes. In the treasury of closeness, the little lights pulsed peacefully. Does that mean Mom doesn't have to sit with me? Ava asked quietly. Lumi looked at her gently. It means that if Mom sometimes can't sit for long, your body can learn her presence in a different way, he replied. But not tonight, by force. Tonight, we will simply give you the closeness you need. Ava felt something in her belly loosen even more. Can I go back to bed? She asked. Yes, Lumi said. We'll go back slowly. The clearing drifted away softly. The treasury of closeness stayed in the land of dreams, but the feeling Ava took with her stayed inside. Ava was lying in her bed again. The room was calm. The door still closed. Mom still in the house. But in the room, beside the bed, there was something her body recognized as near. Lumi sat beside her. The dream sparks hovered low. One held the breathing rhythm. Another held warmth. The third held memory. Ava didn't have to do anything. First, her feet rested. Her toes grew heavy in a good way. Then, her calves, her knees, her thighs, as if her whole legs were sinking into the softness of the bed. Her belly stopped holding tight. Her shoulders dropped. Her hands relaxed on their own. Her breath was longer. Inhale, exhale. In Ava's mind, one thought appeared. Someone is here, not as a sentence, as a feeling, like a blanket, like warmth. Lumi twitched his ears gently. The light on his chest pulsed slowly. You are safe, he whispered. And if your body needs closeness, it means it knows the road to calm. Ava was still here, but already a little somewhere else. The sounds of the house drifted away. The walls stopped being important. The weight of the blanket was familiar. The mattress accepted her back. Her breathing found its rhythm on its own. The dream sparks began to form a very delicate image. It was not a dream that sweeps you away, rather a quiet scene, warm light in the distance, a soft path where you walk slowly. Ava didn't have to walk. She could simply watch. The image didn't push forward. It waited. If any thought still tried to appear, It was like a small leaf on water. It floated by and disappeared. Ava felt her eyelids growing heavy. She didn't fight. She didn't try to fall asleep. She let sleep come when it was ready. And it came softly, without a border. Lumi stayed a little longer. He checked whether Ava's body was breathing evenly, whether her heart had slowed, whether that tight knot in her belly was gone. A small smile appeared on Ava's face, the kind that appears only when someone feels truly safe. "Good night, Ava," Lumi whispered. "Closeness stays." The dream sparks rose higher and returned to the land of dreams. And to the treasury of closeness, one small light returned as well. New. From this night, from the feeling that someone stayed long enough, and now Lumi is here. He sits quietly and looks right at you. If you sometimes fall asleep more easily when someone is near, that is okay. Many children are like that. It means your body knows what safety is and how to recognize it. If tonight someone cannot sit by your bed for a long time, you can remember the warmth you already know. It can be the memory of a voice. It can be the weight of the blanket. It can be the thought that someone is in the house. Or it can be your own feeling that says, "I am in this world and someone loves me." Lumi stays as long as needed. He does not rush, and he does not expect you to fall asleep in any particular way. In the land of dreams, there are still many paths and many stories. Lumi will tell another one when the next night comes. Remember that truly you are never alone, because you have yourself. Your bed is safe. Your blanket knows how to hold you, and sleep will come exactly when it is ready. Sleep peacefully. Good night.